Greetings. Thank you for joining. We will begin momentarily. Greetings and welcome to the Bioenergy, Natural Resources and Environment, Agriculture and Food Research Initiative, Foundational and Applied Sciences Fiscal Year 2023 Request for Application, Announcement, and Technical Assistance webinar. My name is Adam Wilkie and I will be your session moderator. Thank you for joining today, and thank you to the BENRI program teams, John Martins and Wendy Flatt for their assistance and support in this webinar. A few quick reminders. This webinar will be recorded and will be posted at the link on your screen. The chat function is disabled. However, we will add relevant links in the chat throughout the presentations. Questions should be submitted via the Q&A box during the presentation, and questions will be answered after the final presentation. The United States Department of Agriculture is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. At this time, I am honored to introduce Dr. Kevin Kephart, Deputy Director of the Institute for Bioenergy, Climate, and the Environment, who will share some introductory remarks about the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture and the AFRI Bioenergy, Natural Resources and Environment Program area. Thank you, Dr. Kephart.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I want to thank all of our audience that's taken time to join us today and hopefully have a great discussion about one of our program areas, priority areas that we have to offer within NIFA. First of all, what is NIFA? NIFA is a part of USDA, and it's within the research, education, and economics mission area of USDA. Some of our other sister agencies within that mission area include the Agricultural Research Service, Economic Research Service, and the National Agriculture Statistics Service. Now, NIFA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, it's a bit different than the others in that NIFA is an extramural science funding agency. In other words, we provide funding, we provide grants to non-USDA participants to conduct research, extension, and educational activities. We do that through two primary mechanisms. One of those is called capacity funding, which are distributed among eligible entities by congressional formulas. The other way is through competitive programs, and that's what we're here to talk to you about today, is one of our strong competitive priority areas. We do this to invest in and support initiatives that ensure the long-term viability of agriculture, as well as the natural resources and the environment. NIFA provides funding and strategic leadership for these programs and ensures ongoing groundbreaking discoveries in ag-related sciences and technologies. Next slide, please. Now, NIFA has a wide variety of programmatic activities or programmatic areas, topics in other words. Today, we'll hear about areas in natural resources, environments such as climate change and agroecosystems. We'll also hear about opportunities for support in bioenergy, which is part of the advanced technologies area. But you can see that in other programmatic areas, NIFA covers a wide range of topics that are related to agriculture, forestry, rural economies, and so other related areas. Next slide, please. Now, specifically for today, we'll be talking about a part of AFRI. AFRI stands for the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. So it's a specific initiative within NIFA, and it's our largest competitive grant program. Now, AFRI has 6 priority areas within it that are defined by the Farm Bill. And this is within one of the 3 RFAs that AFRI has, and that's specifically the Foundational and Applied Sciences program. What we'll talk about today is the bioenergy, natural resources, and environment priority area. That's one of the 6 defined priority areas within AFRI. So today we'll talk about we call it BNRI within NIFA. Now, BNRI has these specific funding opportunities that we'll talk about in detail today. They include soil health, water quality and quantity. We'll also talk about sustainable bioeconomy through bio-based products. Next is sustainable agroecosystems. Another one is brand new for this funding cycle called environmental justice, so a very high social science component to that. And then as well, many of the priority areas that we had listed previously, sometimes they get together and jointly fund funding opportunities. Those are the cross-cutting areas. And for today, they'll include CARE, which is Critical Agricultural Research and Extension. We'll talk about rapid response to extreme weather events across food and agricultural systems. And then finally, extension education and USDA Climate Hub partnerships. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Adam. Thank you so much. And I want to also thank the BNRI team that you'll hear from today.
Thank you, Dr. Kephart. Next, we will begin the program presentations. Please submit your questions into the Q&A box during the presentations. Wendy, please go ahead and share your screen and start the video. Thank you all.
Hello everyone, I'm Sandeep Kumar, National Program Leader of Soil Health Program with the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. I am discussing today Soil Health Program A1401, which is part of the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative Foundational and Applied Science Program request for applications for the FY 2023. So 3 individuals supporting this program. Myself, Sandeep Kumar, National Program Leader within the Institute of Bioenergy, Natural Resources and Environment. Jomis Jamora, National Program Leader, Institute of Bioenergy, Natural Resources and Environment. And Wendy Flatt, Program Specialist within the same institute. I would like to discuss Soil Health A1401 Program Overview. Purpose and priorities of this program. The goal of the Soil Health Program area priority is to support research projects that will contribute to foundational and applied research to advance scientific understanding of soil physical and biogeochemical processes and interactions, and assessment, development, and adoptions of models, decision support tools, and new climate smart management conservation practices that will lead to improving or maintaining soil health and productivity while maintaining or improving environmental health in a changing climate and sustainability of our natural resource base. And applications may address one or more of the following. First one, evaluation of the effects of management practices on soil microbial community function and their contribution to healthy soils, carbon sequestration, mitigation of greenhouse gas emissions, and or sustainable climate resilient agroecosystems, or assessment and or development of innovative approaches, tools, and technologies that enhance the understanding and or management of the physical and biogeochemical processes that contribute to soil health. And please refer to request for application document, page number 56 for more details. Eligible candidates can be from colleges or universities, state agriculture experiment station, national laboratories, federal agencies, private organizations, and other research institution or foundation. And again, please refer to a request for application document for more detail. For this program, we only accept research-only projects, and grant types include standard, conference, phase, which would include strengthening standard, new investigator, seed sabbatical, or equipment. Now I would like to discuss application details and documents. Application details. Request for application document is available online at the link I provided here. Application deadline is Thursday, September 14th, 2023, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. An application can be submitted only through the grants.gov. Total funding available for this fiscal year is approximately $8 million, and maximum funding award is $750,000 for standard grants, strengthening standard grants, and a new investigator standard grant, and $900,000 with specific partnership, and we provide $300,000 for all seed grants that for the per award. Key documents, key component of your application should include project summary or abstract, project narrative, bibliography, or reference list. For other documents, please see the request for application and NEFA grant application guide. For any question for this program, please refer to one of these individuals. And thank you very much for your time today.
Hello, folks. It's Jim Dobrovolsky, National Program Leader for Water and Natural Resources with the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. And today we're going to be talking about the Water Quantity and Quality Program, or A1411, which is part of the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative Foundational and Applied Sciences Request for Applications. There are two individuals that are supporting this program at NIFA. Myself, National Program Leader in the Institute of Bioenergy, Natural Resources, and Environment, and Wendy Flatt, Program Specialist in the same institute. So the Water Quantity and Quality Program is part of the Biology, Natural Resources, and Environment section, or BENRI section, of the AFRI Request for Applications. And why are we funding water quantity and quality issues? Well, the United States is committed to the proper management of agricultural practices and the improved efficiency of agricultural water uses to protect both water quality and quantity, and also food security, and to improve the resilience of agricultural and forested ecosystems to climate change. So NIFA will provide competitive support to improve water science, management and technologies, water conservation and water use efficiency, and to promote common data exchange formats and access to data for decision-making, for improving forecasting and the modeling of water-related systems. And we also are promoting the technology adoption and behavior change by producers and land managers and decision makers. How are we going to do this? Well, practically, NIFA seeks applications to reduce the freshwater demand in both groundwater and surface waters used for irrigation. In other words, we're trying to reduce the water footprint of agriculture. We're also interested in reducing the nutrient demand for maximum crop production by substituting the use of other technologies, or by changing management practices, and or by using other water sources, for example, recycled water from wastewater, brackish groundwater, agricultural return flow, and produced water from industry and mining. At the same time, we have to retain appropriate soil health by managing the salinity brought about by using those non-traditional water sources, We need to make sure we retain adequate infiltration, that we have and use the proper application of soil amendments such as fertilizers, manure, and biochar, and that we eliminate accelerated erosion from farm fields. Additionally, we're interested in protecting water quality from nutrients and pesticides, pathogens, and contaminants of emerging concern that might load to surface or groundwater. We're accepting 2 project types, both integrated, that is integrated research with education, or integrated research with extension, and also research only project types. Grant types we accept are standard grants. We also accept, under the strengthening portfolio, and strengthening means that we are supporting the capacity building of some institutions. In other words, we are helping to fund institutions that are in EPSCoR states, that are potentially Hispanic serving institutions or other minority serving institutions. And we, underneath that strengthening, we are also supporting project types like new investigator projects, seed projects, sabbatical projects, and equipment projects. The request for applications is available online, and we suggest that you read it thoroughly. It is at the link that is up on the screen right now. The application deadline is Thursday, September 7th at 5 p.m. The approximate total funding available for this program is about $8 million. And the maximum funding per award is about $650,000 for research only projects, $750,000 for integrated projects, and you can add an additional $150,000 for partnerships, both capacity-based partnerships and international partnerships. Thank you very much.
Hi all, welcome to the section of the webinar where we're going to discuss the Ag and Food Research Initiative Foundational and Applied Sciences Priority Area A1414, Sustainable Bioeconomy through Bio-Based Products. This is the RFA Announcement and Technical Assistance webinar. I'm Dr. Toby Ahrens, National Program Leader in the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate and Environment, and I'm supported in overseeing this program by Rocio Gutierrez, who's a program specialist in our institute as well. And our contact information is on this slide. I'm going to start by giving a quick program overview. So the purpose and priorities of this program are to support one or more of the following: new or improved strategies to help develop bio-based products that improve product functionality, increase revenues, or reduce costs over incumbent products. Strategies and approaches for scalable biomass systems that provide beneficial ecosystem services, and some of those ecosystem services are listed on this slide. And strategies to alleviate technical and economic barriers leading to adoption and improved consumer attitudes towards the bioeconomy and bio-based products. A1414 only solicits project types that are integrated. So for integrated projects, you must address at least 2 out of 3 among research, education, and extension. So it's for integrated projects only. And the grant types are for standard grants, conferences, and strengthening grants as well. And strengthening grants includes a number of different grant types that are listed on this slide. Eligibility is only for colleges and universities, 1994 land-grant institutions, and Hispanic-serving agricultural colleges and universities. And the application details can be found in the request for applications online at the link shown here. And the deadline for 2023 will be September 7th by 5 p.m. Eastern. and that would need to be submitted through grants.gov. That's not emailed to me, not emailed to Rocio, but submitted through grants.gov successfully by 5 p.m. Eastern time. We always recommend that applicants try to get the applications in at least a day or two in advance in case there are any problems with the grants.gov website at the last minute. The program code is A1414, and the maximum funding per award is $1 million. There are key documents that are listed here. Components of your application need to include a project summary or an abstract, project narrative, and bibliography and data management plan. There are other documents that are detailed in the NIFA grants application guide with the link that's shown here, as well as on the AFRI request for applications link that is shown on this slide as well. The project narrative has an 18-page limit. In addition to the 18-page limit, if you have applied to this program before, you are allowed one additional page to respond to reviewers that will be attached to the front of the 18 pages. And the expectation for what's included in these 18 pages, again, is detailed in the link on this slide. Proposals must include a data management plan. And application submission, as I mentioned before, is electronic only, and it's through grants.gov. We do encourage all applicants to read the grants application guide available at the link here, and all application documents must be in PDF form. We have rejected applications in the past when they come through in Word or Excel or other document types. The proposal evaluation process for A1414 is similar to other AFRI priority areas. The evaluation process is detailed on this slide, and I'm not going to go into much detail here. And evaluation criteria, again, are similar to other AFRI programs. So for A1414 integrated projects, it includes the merit of the application for research, education, and extension, qualifications of project personnel, facilities, project management, and project relevance. And the review criteria in the PDF mentioned above does have additional details under each of these categories. The timeline is expected to take about 3 to 5 months to review proposals after they are submitted. And we encourage applicants to use Data Gateway or CRIS to find projects that have been funded in the past. The link below on the bottom of this slide will take you to previously funded A1414 proposals. Other grant resources that may be useful are listed here. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at any time. My email and phone number are on this slide, toby.aarons@usda.gov, 207-544-3021. Good luck. We'd love to see lots of applications come into A1414, and please reach out with any questions. Thank you.
Greetings and welcome to the Technical Assistance webinar for Sustainable Agroecosystems, program code A1451, fiscal year 2023. My name is Adam Wilkie, and I'm a National Program Leader, or NPL, in the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate, and the Environment. The 1451 program team includes NPL's Dr. Amy Ganguly, Dr. Giomi Zamora, and Program Specialist, Dr. Amber Campbell. This program area priority calls for research projects that focus on improvement of ecosystem health and output of ecosystem services in managed production systems. Managed production systems are defined broadly to include croplands, forests, and rangelands. This priority area calls for applied research that will advance scientific understanding of health, functions, processes, and management of sustainable agroecosystems. Applicants must address one of the following. First, new approaches that significantly increase ecosystem health and resilience, along with the output or value of more than one ecosystem service compared with the current management system for the region. Second, improving connection of ecosystem health to manage system productivity, functionality, socioeconomic viability, biodiversity, sustainability, and/or resilience. Eligible entities for research-only programs in 1451 are provided on this slide and in RFA page 114. This RFA solicits research-only project types for 1451 and funds a range of grants, including standard, strengthening standard, new investigator, seed, sabbatical, conference, and equipment. Previously funded research activities in 1451 can be found on the NIFA Data Gateway or Enterprise Search, searching for program code A1451. Maximum award amount in this program area priority has increased from 650 to 750,000 in fiscal year 2023. Further details are provided in the Foundational and Applied Sciences RFA. Application deadlines are due September 14th, submitted through grants.gov, and conference grants letters of intent are accepted in an ongoing basis, a minimum of 195 days before the conference begins. Maximum award amounts and grants duration are listed on this slide and in page 62 of the RFA. Key document details are provided in the RFA on page 120. Note, project narrative limit is 18 pages, single space, 12-point font, and applications exceeding that page limitation will not be reviewed. AFRI requests for application resources are available on the web links provided on this slide. I would encourage you to also consider attending the upcoming grant support technical assistance workshop the week of May 8th of this year. Data management plans are required and more details are provided in the link below and the talk later on in this webinar series. NIFA only accepts electronic submissions of applications in PDF format, and all details are provided in the NIFA Grants Application Guide linked on this slide. Proposals are assigned for review to at least 3 reviewers with subject matter area expertise in the proposed topic. Reviewers will produce individual reviews of each proposal, evaluating strengths and weaknesses. Those written reviews are used during the peer review panel discussion for the peer review panelists to come to a consensus on the final rating and ranking of proposals. The Foundational Applied Sciences RFA fiscal year 23 was released in February and applications are due in September of 2023. The process of peer review takes 2 to 3 months and an additional 1 or 2 months are required for award processing and finalization, resulting in 3 to 5 months from proposal due date to award being made. Grant resources are available through the links on this slide, and we encourage you to please reach out to any of the program staff on the Sustainable Agroecosystems Program Area Priority to address any further questions. We appreciate your time. Greetings, and thank you for joining the Bioenergy, Natural Resources, and Environment Technical Assistance webinar. The focus of this talk will be on a new program area priority in environmental justice, A1461. My name is Adam Wilkie, and I am a national program leader in the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate and the Environment, Division of Global Climate Change. My colleague Wendy Flatt is the program specialist for the program, also coming from the same institute. First, I will start with the program overview. The purpose and priorities of the program area priority in environmental justice include better understanding, measuring, and tracking how NIFA's research, education, extension, and workforce development initiatives in clean energy, climate change, food and nutrition security, and water programming impact underserved communities. This program is particularly focused on secondary or indirect community-level social benefits and impacts. Proposals are required to address all of the following. First, developing models that leverage and complement existing geospatial approaches to environmental justice and describing multiple dimensions of the indirect and long-term effects of investments on underserved communities. And second, incorporating input and design principles extensively and meaningfully from underserved and indigenous communities at all stages of model development and execution. Eligible applicants include the following. Details are provided on page 114 of the Foundational and Applied Sciences RFA. 1461 is accepting research-only grants and will support both standard and conference grant types. Next, I will discuss application details and documents. Application details may be found on the AFRI Foundational and Applied Sciences RFA with this link and also via the program page. Letter of intent application deadline is Thursday, June 15th, submitted via email to adam.wilke@usda.gov. Full application deadline is Thursday, September 14th via grants.gov. Total funding available for this new program in fiscal year 23 is $1 million, and the maximum funding per award is also $1 million. We anticipate making one standard grant award. Key documents for your application are described on this slide, and more details are available in the NIFA Grants Application Guide. Project narrative limit is 18 pages, single space, 12-point font, and applications exceeding the page limitation will not be reviewed. Additional formatting details are available on the AFRI RFA resources page and also the AFRI Foundational Applied Sciences additional information link provided. Also note that NIFA is conducting a grants support technical assistance workshop the week of May 8th, and you may register with the link provided. Applications are required to submit a data management plan. Please review the details provided on the link below. NIFA only accepts electronic submission of applications via grants.gov. And the link to the NIFA Grants Application Guide is available there. Application documents must be in portable document format or PDF to be accepted from NIFA. Next, the proposal evaluation process. Proposals are assigned to at least 3 reviewers with subject matter area expertise. Reviewers produce individual reviews. These written reviews are used for the panel discussion, and throughout these discussions, peer review panelists come to a consensus on the final rating and ranking of proposals. The timeline you can expect from the February release of the RFA to the September deadline is around 7 months. It'll be 2 to 3 months for the proposal review process and an additional 1 to 2 months for the award processing and finalization. A few quick additional information details, links to upcoming events and the request for applications calendar, links to grant resources, and finally, contact information for any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and interest in USDA AFRI Program 1461.
Hi there, this is Jim Dobrovolsky, National Program Leader for Water and Natural Resources with the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and I'm going to be speaking about the Critical Agriculture Research and Extension Program, or CARE, which is in the AFRI funding portfolio. It is A1701. There are 3 individuals that support this program. Myself, Jim Dobrovolsky, I am part of the Institute of Bioenergy, Natural Resources and Environment, and Vijay Nandula, also another national program leader. He's with the Institute of Food Production and Sustainability, and we're supported by Sierra Casetas. She's the program specialist, and she, like Vijay, are from the Institute of Food Production and Sustainability. So this is a cross-cutting program. It cuts across the AFRI portfolio. and we're going to be talking about the program itself. The purpose and priorities of the CARE program, the actual why. Why are we involved with CARE? Well, this program area addresses critical challenges and opportunities that research and extension together can address to improve our nation's agriculture and food systems. Despite prior investments in basic and applied research, critical problems continue to impede the efficient production of agriculturally important plants and animals for producing safe and nutritious foods, and to meet environmental challenges for agriculture. These problems may be local, regional, or national, and may call to work focused on one or more scientific disciplines. However, all need immediate attention to meet producer and consumer needs. Finding and implementing solutions to these critical problems require partnership and close coordination among researchers, extension experts, and practitioners in food and agriculture enterprise. Now, how do we pull this off? Well, funded projects are expected to produce results that lead to practices, tools, and technologies that are rapidly adopted by end users. That means everything should be nearly finished from the research perspective and ready to be translated to those end users. Projects based on indigenous, traditional, ecological knowledge are appropriate for this program area priority. This program area is designed to support integrated activities based on rigorous research combined with effective extension and the involvement of stakeholders. So this particular brand of integration is research and extension only. That project should rapidly apply new knowledge or practices resulting in improved well-being of the people, communities, plants, and animals involved in and affected by agriculture and food production systems. So there are two grant types that we are talking about. Both of them are standard, and the strengthening is also a standard grant, but it is to support capacity-based institutions, like those institutions in EPSCoR states, or those institutions that are Hispanic serving, or are 1890 traditionally Black colleges and universities, or 1994 Native American colleges and universities. And we are only accepting integrated, that is research plus extension project types. We also are encouraging new investigators to apply, but they compete with an integrated project along with the rest of the panel. The application details, the RFA is available at that link that you see up on the screen. The application deadline is Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 5 p.m. The total funding available is approximately $5 million, and the maximum funding per award is about $300,000. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Welcome to this short video about USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture's AFRI program A1712. The focus of this program is rapid response to extreme weather events across food and agricultural systems. In this video, we will highlight information about the AFRI Rapid Response to Extreme Weather program. We also encourage applicants to view our other videos about this AFRI program and to check out our webpage, a fact sheet, and frequently asked questions. Climate change exacerbates the risk of extreme weather-related disasters caused by naturally occurring hazards such as droughts, heat waves, wildfires, tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, tropical storms, and blizzards that often disrupt agricultural, forestry, and rangeland production systems. We often immediately see the resource degradation from extreme weather events. However, entire agricultural supply chains are adversely impacted, and that illustrates the need for innovative extension and applied research efforts to alleviate the impacts of these disasters across food and agricultural systems. Although USDA NIFA has programs that have funded critical disaster-related research, extension, and teaching activities, we recognize there was a funding gap for rapid or near real-time response to extreme weather events and disasters. With the Rapid Response to Extreme Weather program, we strive to deploy funding for response activities that inform short and long-term recovery, mitigation, and preparedness in food and agricultural systems. As we look at the purpose of this program, it is designed to rapidly deploy strategies and fill knowledge and information gaps. It is intended to focus on our food and agricultural supply chains and all the people who support them. We intend to see projects that buffer disaster impacts and ensure availability of safe, nutritious, and affordable food for everyone. And finally, funded projects must directly address effects associated with an extreme weather event or disaster. Applicants have an opportunity to justify the urgency of their situation and articulate their specific, unique, and individualized needs for funding. In that vein, we recognize that no two weather events are the same, nor are their impacts. Applicant eligibility is not tied to disaster declarations. In some cases, getting an actual declaration can take weeks and even months. USDA NIFA will not monitor extreme weather events and disasters or announce an open call for submissions. Instead, we encourage applicants to use data from the National Weather Service, the National Integrated Heat Health Information System, local or state Farm Service Agency, state or federal emergency management agency, and even local partners to justify a direct need for rapid response activities and to inform their project narratives. It is our intent to fund projects that provide solutions that can be rapidly adopted. We anticipate a variety of innovative approaches to extension projects and integrated extension and research that may include, but are not limited to, trainings and exercises, communication strategies, tools and technologies, management strategies, and logistics. As applicants consider project design, NIFA encourages projects to have well-developed extension and/or outreach activities. Reaching end users is a critical component of this program. Applicants must be able to provide a clear, strategic approach to reaching them. The project types for this program are either extension or integrated extension and research projects. The grant types for this program include standard grants and strengthening standard grants. Phase grants are the food and agricultural science enhancement grants. We provide more details about our project types and grant types in our other videos, and we encourage applicants to review them for more information. The Rapid Response to Extreme Weather program seeks project applications that focus on critical and urgent solutions in rapid response to disaster impacts on the nation's food and agricultural systems. Clearly describe short-term deliverables within 3 months of award receipt. As a rapid response program, we want products available to end users. Clearly define the geographic scope of the project as related to the weather-related event or disaster. This program has 3 emphasis areas. Project applications must address one or more of the following emphasis areas: agroecosystem resilience, food safety, nutrition security, and agricultural commodity security, and health, well-being, and safety. We provide additional details about these emphasis areas in another video. This concludes this introductory video about the AFRI Rapid Response to Extreme Weather program. We also encourage applicants to view our other videos about this AFRI program and to check out our webpage, a fact sheet, and frequently asked questions.
Greetings. Welcome to the Extension, Education, and USDA Climate Hubs Partnership program code A1721, fiscal year 2023 RFA announcement and technical assistance webinar. My name is Adam Wilkie, and I am a National Program Leader in the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate, and the Environment Division of Global Climate Change, and I'll be presenting on behalf of the program team. This program is led by Dr. Amy Ganguly in the same institute and division and is supported by a team of 7 national program leaders, which represent the 6 priority areas within the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. Each of these program leaders brings a unique subject matter area expertise to the program. We are assisted by Susan Muhadeen, a program specialist in the Office of the Director. The Climate Hub Partnership supports projects that provide effective, translatable, and scalable approaches to address climate change through regional partnerships, including the USDA Climate Hubs and Extension. The USDA Climate Hubs are a unique collaboration across USDA agencies with the vision of a robust and healthy agricultural production and natural resources under increasing climate variability and change, with a mission to develop and deliver science-based, region-specific information and technology to agriculture and natural resource managers. Regional partnerships include net zero emission agriculture, working lands adapted to climate change, a diverse workforce that can effectively communicate about climate change with a variety of stakeholders and can incorporate climate considerations into managing working lands, and climate justice, including equity in opportunities and burden sharing. The inaugural year of the Climate Hub Partnership Program was fiscal year 2021 and supported 6 projects totaling $9 million across 8 of the Climate Hub regions. This program accepts 2 project types. First, extension-only projects, and second, integrated projects. Integrated may include research and extension components, or extension and education components. Grant types accepted are standard, strengthening standard, and new investigator. The eligibility for extension-only projects is listed on this slide, and more details are available in the RFA on page 114. The eligibility of integrated projects are listed on this slide and also on page 114 of the RFA. Application details are available in the request for applications linked below and in the chat box. Letter of intent application deadline is 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, May 4th, submitted via email to climatepartnerships@usda.gov. Note that applicants must identify within their letter of intent with which climate hub or hubs they intend to collaborate. Full proposal application deadline is 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, September 7th. Submitted through grants.gov. Program code A1721, and the maximum funding per award is $1 million. Note that project narrative limit is 18-page, single-space, 12-point font, and applications exceeding the page limitation will not be reviewed. Additional details are available within the AFRI RFA resources webpage linked on the slide. Data management plans are required and will be discussed extensively in the next presentation. NIFA accepts electronic submission of applications in PDF format, and more details are available within the NIFA Grants Application Guide linked on the slide. To view previously funded activities within this program area, you can search A1721 program code within the NIFA Data Gateway or Enterprise Search. Proposals are assigned to at least 3 reviewers with subject matter area expertise in the proposed topic. Those reviewers independently produce individual reviews evaluating strengths and weaknesses, and those written reviews are used in the peer review panel discussion process to reach a consensus on the final rating and ranking of the proposals. Requests for applications were released in February 2023 and are due in September of that same year. Proposal review process takes 2 to 3 months, and an additional 1 or 2 months are required for award processing and finalization, resulting in a timeline of about 3 to 5 months from proposal due date to award. Please see these links for upcoming events and the request for application release calendar and the following grant resources which have been mentioned in the presentations today. Please do not hesitate to reach out to any of the program staff with questions or reach out directly to climatepartnerships@usda.gov. Thank you for your time and thank you for your interest in this program.
Hello, and welcome to the short video on data management planning and expectations. I'm Amy Ganguly, a national program leader in the Institute of Bioenergy, Climate, and Environment. And in this short video, we're going to talk about the why, what, and how of data management plans. Let's start off with the reality. We know that sharing data often speeds up the advancement of science and innovation. But the reality is that only a small percentage of published work includes shared data, even if it's promised in the data management plan. In fact, the journal PLOS One recently reported that out of 2,100 journal articles that included data sharing plans, fewer than 21% provided links to the repository storing the data. NIFA started requiring data management plans in 2019. And we don't just require them for research, they're required for all of our projects, research, education, and extension. Our data management plans are limited to 2 pages and only 1 can be submitted per project. This document should clearly articulate how project directors and co-project directors plan to manage and disseminate data that is generated by the project. And it must include the following 5 components. The first is the expected data type, and this should be descriptive. Is it digital or non-digital? How is that data generated? And is it considered primary data or metadata? So some examples for research would be data generated by lab work, field work, or surveys. For extension, this could include outreach materials and data associated with events like the number of stakeholders reached or the number of activities or information like assessment questionnaires. For education, this could be number of students enrolled or participated, the degrees that have been granted by the work, curriculum, or training products. Under data format, the goal should be that data should be readily accessible and usable. We fully expect that people use community recognized standards and defer to those people submitting that to identify what those standards are. We expect that all formats will be clearly indicated, and those formats for the data will conform to public platforms when appropriate. And that's especially true when using data-specific repositories. And the format must include enough information to allow for independent use of the data. Under data storage and preservation, this photo on the left is now considered a very antiquated way to store data, especially when most of our data are coming from digital means. But bottom line, we expect data to be stored in a safe environment with adequate measures for long-term preservation. We want people to describe their plans for storing that data during and after the project, and to specify the data repository that they're going to use. identify how much data will be preserved and what the planned retention period is, and what are the strategies and contingency plans to avoid data loss, degradation, or damage. The fourth item includes data sharing, protection, and public access. Tell us, what are the sharing procedures during and after the grant? Include a statement of the plans to protect confidentiality, personal privacy, proprietary interest, and intellectual property rights. And this should also clearly outline restrictions due to copyright, confidentiality, appropriate credit, disclaimers, or conditions for use. And the final item should clearly articulate the roles and responsibilities. Who ensures the data management plan's implementation? What are the contingency plans if there are personnel changes in the project? And what resources are needed to develop and implement the data management plan? We, from an implementation standpoint and our expectations and how we want to monitor implementation of the data management plan, so we expect that any updates are included in the annual and final reports. We expect that data management plans are living documents. So if anything substantially changes, it's important to reach out to program staff. Important to note is that many programs are developing their best practices for monitoring data management plans and reporting, and we recognize the need for better outreach on our expectations. A couple of resources I want to leave you with is first, the Agricultural Data Commons, which provides some wonderful examples of data that have been stored in this resource. And so if you scan that QR code, you'll get a chance to see several different examples, as well as some that are funded specifically by NIF, National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Another example is a resource called the Data Management Planning Tool. And this is provided or curated by the University of California Digital Library. Again, the QR code is to the left, and this also has specific examples of NIFA related data management plans. In closing, I want to acknowledge that USDA is an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender, and ask you that if you have questions, please contact the national program leader associated with the program of interest, and they should be able to help you with your questions. And then also on the right-hand side, we have another QR code that will provide you the link to our NIFA resources on the web, which include our instructions for data management plans, as well as frequently asked questions.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Now we have plenty of time to answer your questions. So I'm going to have all of my colleagues who are expert speakers for their presentations come and join me. So I am Rachel Melnick. I am the Division Director for Global Climate Change under USDA NIFA here, and I will be moderating the Q&A session. For those of you who have been asking questions, thank you very much. Some of them, if they were very relevant to a program area, have already been answered in the Q&A box. We encourage you, if you have additional questions, to please put them in the Q&A box and we will go forth and answer them. So I have a question about eligibility for seed grants. So if someone is residing and working in a state that is listed in the 2023 EPSCoR list, but is also listed on the most successful institutions, can they apply for a seed grant?
Thanks, Rachel. That's a good question. That's a tough question, but it's easily answered, because our rule is if you're on the list of EPSCoR states, you can apply for a seed grant, even though you are on the list of most successful institutions. So Jennifer, go for it.
Great, we're looking forward to that application. So we have another question related to climate smart agriculture. Is the priority topic area climate smart agriculture only considered for A 1721, or can this topic be addressed in any of the programs presented?
I'll start with this question. Climate smart ag is a very broad area, and I think the most important thing when trying to address this question is think specifically about what you're wanting to address, and then carefully read the priority areas to see if it fits the RFA. One of the things that we often say is don't necessarily bend the arc of your research just to cram it into a program. Think about how our priority areas are written to spur innovation, and see how you can respond nimbly to address that.
We have another question talking about defining agriculture. In all topics involving agriculture or agricultural systems, is that inclusive of aquaculture, and is that inclusive of aquaculture without exception?
I'm happy to take this one, Rachel. So I would say it's not necessarily inclusive of aquaculture without exception, and it depends on the type of aquaculture you're talking about, to which program or priority area you would apply to. And I would strongly encourage you to reach out to the national program leader that oversees the program to see if your application might be a fit. So for example, if you're looking at recirculating aquaculture systems for finfish, you might be in animal systems. If you're looking at algae as a feedstock for bio-based products, you could be in A1531, potentially A1414. If you're looking at as a feed ingredient, it might be different again. So there are many different programs where aquaculture could be a fit, but the priority area might be different. Strongly encourage you to reach out to the MPL.
Great, thank you. I do not see any open questions, but I will give some people some time if they have any additional questions. I will say we had a questions about circulation. Where will we be sharing the slides? We will actually share this entire recording that is right on the NIFA events page, which I answered in the chat. You can find the link to that. Just give us a few days to make sure the recording is up and ready to go and in the appropriate format, but we will share that with everybody, not just those who registered to attend.
Okay, folks, now's your chance.
Oh, here you go. Here's another question. Can researchers from USDA Ag Research Service apply for a NIFA grant? We'll specifically address the AFRI-BENRI program. So, Amy?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tackle that one. So ARS researchers absolutely can apply for grants, but they can only apply as a lead for a single function grant, research only, extension only, education only. And they certainly can serve as a co-project director in collaboration with an eligible entity on any integrated program.
Great. Anyone have follow-up? Good. I just want to make sure I don't interrupt. We have another great question. Are there any limits to the number of programs one PI can submit proposals to? Are there any limits, as a follow-up to that, are there any limits for strengthening or new investigator proposals?
So I'll take the first crack, and others can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you cannot submit the same application to multiple programs. this is actually one program. So the foundational applied sciences program, there are different priority areas. So you cannot submit the same proposal to multiple priority areas. You may, as a PI, submit different proposals into different priority areas. And I believe you can also submit different proposals into the same priority area.
And you can, Toby. Unfortunately, we don't recommend that. We would like you to spend more of your time focusing and strengthening a single proposal. But you can also apply as a co-project director to this program, in addition to being a project director on another proposal.
And if you are going to submit more than one proposal, as Toby said, you can't submit the same proposal. You want, if it's building a research program, think about complementary but not duplicative. So our attendees, we are here as a captive audience. Please feel free to put any more questions you have in the Q&A box. Additionally, as we're waiting for questions, I'd like to remind anyone, if you have very specific questions about Fit to Program, please go ahead and reach out to my colleagues who are more than happy to answer your email or set up a time for a short chat with you. I also would kindly recommend that you try to do that the day before the application is due.
To build on what Rachel just said, so USDA is different from some other agencies where when the RFA comes out, they don't want you to approach the NPLs or the leaders of particular topic areas. It's not the case with us. Certainly reach out at any time. If a question comes up about, eligibility or fit, please reach out before spending too much time and energy going down the wrong path.
So we have another question in the Q&A box. Can a USDA research scientist be co-PI of a proposal?
Yes, for all the programs that we presented on today, a USDA research scientist at federal, anyone who's working for a federal agency can be a co-PI.
Quick clarification on that. I actually, I believe for integrated programs, they cannot. So for integrated programs, I think it's colleges and universities, 1994s and Hispanic serving colleges and universities, but for standard grants and standard research grants, they can. So make sure that the eligibility matches the grant type. For integrated ones, I believe not. They certainly can be co-PIs, absolutely can be co-Is if that was the question.
Yeah, the question was co. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. And actually that question, I think I might have answered privately, came up also for A1414. When we talk about eligible applicants, that's typically talking about, or that is always talking about the lead applicant. We love lots of different collaborations with folks, private industry, and certainly, ARS or Forest Service, but the eligibility is for the lead applicant, not for the co-PIs.
So we have another question here. So how, if a proposal that is addressing two areas together is submitted to the program, how would that be evaluated? Specifically, if a proposal is submitted to the water quality program and the proposal is also addressing soil health, how would a candidate approach such a situation, and how, as a program officer, would you help instruct the panel on evaluating that proposal?
Well, we often do get proposals that could potentially be in two different programs. But I would really advise the project director to really focus on one or the other and not to muddle the actual proposal because you're going to be paneled by folks in the water quality and quantity program, for example, that are specifically selected to address the priorities in that that particular program area. And so if you want to emphasize soil health and move to Sandeep's program, apply there, and you know, just put your best foot forward for soil health. If you want to do water quality and quantity, then apply to the program that I am participating in. But you just, you know, give me a call and let me let you know how well what you're thinking fits into the priorities of that particular year.
If I could just add a comment to that, as I mentioned before, I think it's really important to be responsive to each priority area. And so that should also, or could also help you answer the question yourself in terms of your ability to address the specific goals associated with each of the priority areas.
So we have another question related to eligibility and number of applications. Can you be the lead applicant project director for more than one proposal under this RFA? Understanding that we're talking about BENRI, but there are quite a few program area priorities across the AFRI FAS proposal, RFA, sorry.
Yes, as long as the applications are different from each other, not duplicative. Yes.
Now's your time if you have any additional burning questions, and I will encourage you, if there's a question that you think about after this webinar, please feel free to reach out to the national program leader listed on the RFA for the program area priority you are interested in. I will reiterate with my colleagues and what they said, USDA NIFA is very open with being able to answer questions from applicants. It will give us about 30 more seconds to see if we have any additional questions. We are happy to stay on and answer any of the questions you might have. As I do not see any additional questions coming in, everyone in the chat, please remember to go ahead and read the RFA. If you're interested in applying, that's your source of everything for what program area priorities are there, and also all the contact information for the national program leaders over the program area priorities. I'd like to thank Wendy Flatt, who has joined us and run the technical support. Oh, we actually do have one more question. My stalling worked. Why I finished, I really want to thank Wendy, who helped run all the technical aspects of this webinar, and Anna Mulkey for helping to arrange it, but happy to stay on to answer your questions. So the question we have is, do the Commodity Board co-funded opportunities impact any of the BENRI topic areas?
Well, I can answer that. No, they don't. We used to actually award Commodity Board related projects under CARE, the cross-cutting program, the Critical Ag Research and Extension Program. But the Commodity Board awards now have been collated into their own program area. They have their own number. And unfortunately, I don't have that number off the top of my head, but they are on, they're in their own program area now.
We have another question. Could any of our experts talk about cost sharing matching requirements for the programs?
Okay, I'll go for that one too. Toby,
for it.
go ahead.
I'll take a first stab at it. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I believe there is a cap on the cost share. Sorry, on actually here, let me see. So for the cost sharing matching, typically there is no cost share or match, or it's very easy to get waived, even though in many places it says that cost share is required. So I would encourage you to reach out to the national program leader for a priority area to see if it's waived. So typically for land grant universities, it is automatically waived. I think when you run into problem, maybe Jim, are there specific scenarios where you've seen it not be waived?
Yeah, it's only when the actual work that you're doing is respective to only one commodity group. So if you're only working with the corn growers, or you're only working with the wheat growers, there are situations where you might actually have to match funding for that.
Again, if you have a very specific question about your proposal, we suggest you reach out to the program contact and they can walk you through that. So we have another question specific to NIFA. Do we have public data showing the success rate of the BenRE program area priorities in the past years?
Rachel, I can take a stab at this one. NIFA does not publish our award or funding rates. We would encourage you to reach out directly to the national program leaders for that information.
The one thing I will add on this, and others can jump in if they'd like, I believe AFRI, it's typically very competitive. I think it's usually, somewhere in the 15% range in terms of a funding line, maybe 10 to 20. There's not much use in trying to game where the application goes, because we do share funding across different priority areas depending on the number of applications that come in. And so if that's a thought of, geez, which one do I apply for? We've solved for that on our side. So there isn't much use in doing that for AFRI.
So there is another question, but does it seem fair to have to ask for a cost share waiver to carry out research on environmental justice?
Yeah, Ed, thank you for that great question. And yeah, no pun intended, I agree. But I'll just say that NIFA, in enacting the Agriculture and Food Research Initiative legislation, is abiding by our authorizations. And so therefore we need to follow those guidelines. But your question is well received. Thank you.
While we're waiting for additional questions, I'd like to remind all attendees who are still with us to please make sure you check the webinar chat. If you haven't already, there is a lot of excellent resources and links to our programs, RFA resources, additional information, enterprise search if you're interested in looking up what's been funded by NIFA in the past, and would encourage everyone, especially new investigators, to look into the Grant Support Technical Assistance Workshop and consider signing up. We have a question in the Q&A box is have there been any modifications to the AFRI Foundational and Applied Science RFA since its initial release?
It's my understanding that there will be a few minor edits. However, that is not public facing yet. And so that means that it's not substantial. If you subscribe to our grants.gov RFA updates, through that process, you would receive notification. But I'm going to ask my colleagues if anyone else knows specific information about when that will come out. I can just give like one example. Because we've listed fiscal year 23 and 24, there are some minor date changes and some things that might change going into the next year. But I defer to my colleagues for any additional information.
So nothing specific. It's a really good point, though. When you look for the RFA, try not to bookmark the exact PDF, something that opens a PDF, or download that and always go back to that. Try every time when you look in to go to the web page at NIFA's website where you can link, you can access the most recent RFA, because there may be updates from time to time. So please make sure you're going to that one. And I do want to add, in the webinar today, in the top right of the screen and in a lot of the slides, you saw the page number listed for what we were talking about. That's for the version that is available now. They may change a little bit. So please, we encourage you to go to the website, look at the most current RFA.
Some of the information changes listed might be for new staff coming in, or just correcting incorrect phone numbers as well. So some of it's very minor. We'll give everyone a few more minutes here to put in any questions you might have in the Q&A, and remind everyone again, we are very open, so please feel free to email the program contacts as well. We're definitely looking forward to receiving your applications. So we really hope to have a great year, and really encourage you to reach out and consider applying to one of the program area priorities, as well as just reaching out to our staff in general if you have any questions. With that, I am going to again thank Wendy Flatt, who has been our master of ceremonies, for running the technical components of it. Thank all of my colleagues for providing expert responses to your questions, as well as for putting the webinar together and recording their specific areas, presentations about their program area priorities. And with that, I will turn it over to our BenRE Technical Assistance webinar moderator to provide any closing remarks.
Well, thank you all for joining, and thank you, Rachel, for moderating the question and answer. Thank you all for the great questions, and just to emphasize one more time to please reach out to the program staff directly with any questions you may have about the program area priorities. We look forward to your applications to the AFRI BenRE program area. And with that, thank you for your time.